In this video, we'll be covering Practical 1 for WST 111, and it should be noted that all practicals in WST 111 will be done in Excel. Okay, so first of all, you will need the material for the practical, which can be found on your portal on your ClickUp page. Okay, and then you go to practical assignments. You can click practical assignments, right? It's a folder, and you'll see that you have practical discussion board where you can post your questions regarding your practical, and the practical one folder. We will go into the practical one folder. Okay, and we see that there is a practical one worksheet there. Okay, so we're going to click that. When you click there, you will see that there's information popping up. Okay, this is historical data and practical one. Okay, and please note that for all your practicals, you will have a ClickUp submission that you would need to submit every week. Okay, it's usually due on Monday of the following week. Okay, so we will need the data set called historical data, and we will also need our instruction manual. I've already downloaded the two files which are available on my system, so you'll just have to download it on your site and save it. Okay, I have the instructions manual open there. Okay, so this is the instructions manual. Okay, and the data set, you can go there, and that is our data set. We will open it. Just double click it to open it. It will take about a minute. There it is. Okay. And because I've already opened the file, there isn't a pop-up thing asking me if I want to enable editing. Okay. But you will see that when you first download the file, there will be an orange warning sign there that says enable editing. You should enable editing in order for you to be able to complete the practical or use the Excel sheet. Okay, so whenever you open an Excel sheet and you want to work on it, if it's asking you to enable editing, you must enable editing first so that you can be able to work on that worksheet. Okay, so now let's start with the practical. Okay, so the objectives of Practical 1 is for you to use Excel in order to clean a dataset and calculate the descriptive measures. Okay, so when we mean by cleaning a dataset, we mean the basic tasks like missing values, blanks, how do they work? Okay, and descriptive measures include your minimum value, your maximum value, like basically your 5-number summary, the mean, the standard deviation, and your variance. Okay. So you see that they say use the historical data set, okay, under ClickUp, course material, practicals, practical one, and all that. So we see that it's changed now. You go to, I've shown you, you go to ClickUp, and then you go to practical assignments. Under practical assignments, you go to practical one. Under practical one, then you go to practical one worksheet, where you will find the data set and the the instructions manual, so this PDF. Okay, so the layout of your data set, it structures as follows. They give you the variable as always, okay, and they give you the description of the variable, and they give you the range, which is all the possible values of that variable. Okay, the range of possible values for that variable. So you have for example, for APS, the description is APS score, and it ranges from 1 to 42. Okay, for the unique WST number, it ranges from 1 to 357, and you can read through the rest of the variables. Okay, it's important that you understand what each variable means. Okay, so now question 1, they ask you to check that all variables are within the specified range. Okay, so I'm going to check whether the variables are within the specified range only for 2 cases. I'm going to check for the unique WST number and the APS. You will do the rest because the procedure is the same. Okay, remember, a range, it means that the values of that variable can only be in that range. Okay, if it's not in that range, then you have a problem. That means either um, there was maybe an error with the recording, so the person entered the wrong number. Okay, so to check whether the unique WST number is between 1 and 357, there are two functions that you will have to check, because remember, this is the smallest value that the variable can take, and this is the largest value that the variable can take. Okay, to check this for the smallest number, you use the minimum, right? Because that's the minimum value of that variable, and the maximum value. Okay, so if the minimum and the maximum value are within the range, then that means that all the values are within the specified range. Okay, there are two functions in Excel that you can use to do that, to check the minimum and the maximum. We have the min function, which checks the minimum value of a column. Okay, and then you have the maximum function, which checks the maximum value of a specified column. Okay, so now we'll go back to our Excel sheet. Okay, I'm just gonna create something that looks like that, so that it's isolated from everything else and you can see where I'm working at. Okay. Okay. So now there I will say var, that's me when I'm working with this, which will represent the variable. Okay. And I said I want to do it for the unique WST number, and I also want to do it for the variable APS. Okay. And I want to get the minimum value, and the maximum value. I'll just represent by, denoted by max. Okay. So in order for you to use any function in Excel or to do any calculation, so any formula, it has to start with the equal sign. Okay, so you click equal to, and then you start typing the name of the function. Okay, and you can see that if you go there, it will, it gives you a few of the most used functions, like the count functions. The count function counts the number of entries of a specified range, and the sum, which calculates the sum of the values in a column or row depending on what you're doing, and the if, it returns yes or no. Okay, so it's 0 or 1. And then the max, the sign, the sum if, so sum based on a condition, and those stuff. Okay, so in this practical, you see that the one that we'll be using, the functions that we'll be using, it will be the count function and the average function. Okay, so the count function and the min and the max, obviously. So the count function, we use it to count, as I explained what the count function does, and the average will calculate the mean value. Okay, so let's start. So now you type min, you want to get the minimum value, and then you see that's where it pops up. You click it, and then we want it for the unique WST number. Select the whole column. Okay, click enter, and you see the minimum value is 1. The maximum value, we use the max function. Okay, and then you click the whole range, the whole column, and you see it's 357, which means is within the specified range that was stipulated in the instruction manual. Okay, if you want to double check that, go back there. You see it ranges from 1 to 357. Now we're going to check for the APS score, which is supposed to range from 1 to 42. Okay, so equal to, again, mean. Okay, and then you select your APS. Okay, and also just note that Excel is not case sensitive. So if you start with capital MIN, is the same as small letter MIN. Okay, and then next of column C. Okay, sorry, I did something wrong there. Equal to, and then max. Again, we select our range. Why is it not working? Okay, best option, you can just start typing the variable name and click the suggested. Okay, that's where it pops up, and click the C column. Okay, there it works. Okay, so you have 26, the minimum value of 26, and maximum of 42. Both two values are within the range, so that means that the stipulated range in the document is valid. Okay, so you will do the rest for math, English, semester test 1 marks, semester test 2 in the practical, and the rest. Okay, so now let's move to the second question. So they say delete all records for which exam entrance is missing, and there's a star there. If you check at the bottom of the page, it says Do not delete any other observations with missing values. Only delete those specified in part 2 and 3. Okay, so we'll only be deleting records that you are asked to delete in 2 and 3 only. Okay, anything else that you see that's wrong, don't delete it. Okay, so for now we want to delete all records for which we have a missing exam entrance. And what is the variable that denotes the exam entrance? Is the EM. No, not exam mark, sorry. It's the entrance variable. There it says exam entrance. Okay, so we're going to be looking at entrance, and we see that the entrance either has yes or no. Okay, and we want to delete for the case where they are missing. Okay, so neither yes or no. Okay, so then to do that, you can just click on the variable, which is the entrance variable. Okay, and then we're going to go to the data tab. Okay, and then in the data, you will see there's something called filter there. So we'll filter it again according to the blanks and then delete the sheet rows. Okay? So we go there, you see the filter button now appears, you click that, and we want to select only the blanks, so missing values. Okay? And you click OK. And you will see these are the values where the exam entrance was blank. Okay? And then you can select this sheet of rows, right? Right click. When you right click, say delete row, and it will ask you, do you want to delete the entire sheet of rows? And then you say yes, okay? And then to get your data set back that you had, click on the filter and then select the yes or no. You see that now the blanks are gone, okay? And then voila, there you have your new data set now. And then go back. Let's go back to the instructions. Okay, so part 3 says delete all records with the exam mark that's greater than 0 who did not get exam entrance. Okay, so we want the cases where the variable EM is greater than 0 and the exam entrance is no. So where entrance is no. Okay, so what we're going to do is that we're going to filter the data set according to the exam entrance. Okay, we filter it according to the nose. After we've filtered according to the nose, then we'll sort it according um, to the EM being greater than 0. So to the exam mark being greater than 0, and delete the ones that are greater than 0 and did not get exam entrance. So that means that the student wrote the exam, but they actually didn't get the exam entrance. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so now there we will filter it according to nose. Okay, click OK. See there. Okay, and we want to delete these guys, the ones that wrote the exam even though they didn't get the exam entrance. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go to this column and we're gonna sort it. Okay, so we sorted, sort. Let me just cell values, sort by. Okay, that's fine. Then I don't want to expand it. Click sort again. Continue with the current selection. Okay, and click OK. Okay. Okay, so it's sorted. Okay, so you see that now we have all the students that didn't get exam entrance, but they wrote the exam. Okay, so we're going to select those observations there. Okay, and then right click and then delete sheet rows, and then you click OK. Okay, so they're all gone, and then now we can remove the filter, select all. Okay, and then click OK. Okay, so we are done with that. Okay, and then part 4 says how many records are left in the data set. Okay, so after you've cleaned the data, how many observations are currently in the data set? To use that, to check that, like I said, we will use the count function, because the count function tells you how many records are in a selected region. Okay, so to check how many, remember, you click equal to with any formula that you want to use, count. Okay, that's where the function comes in there. Okay, and then with the count function, this is me illustrating. Let's just say I just click column A. Okay, you see I have 3, 3, 4. If I say equal to count again, And now, because the first column contains the column name, the variable names, let's see if there will be a difference if you exclude the first column. Will it be different from 334 or not? Okay. So this is what you would do if you want to check how a function works. You have to work. So you have to implement it and see if it works or not. That's how you will learn how to use specific functions in Excel and also in coding as well. If you want to check whether how a function works, check according to different conditions. If I do this, what does it still perform the same? Does it still perform the way I want it or not? Okay. Okay, and then we click equal to. And see, it's 334. So it doesn't matter whether you select it will detect whether this is a variable or a number. Okay. So you can just click the whole column and it will tell you how many observations are there. Okay, it's 334. So if you follow the instructions and you follow the video and you find that you didn't get the the number of records is 334, it means you made a mistake somewhere. You can just go back and redo it again. Okay. Now back to the practical. Okay, so now question 5 says calculate the mean for all quantitative variables. Remember, quantitative variables, what are they? You know that, okay? You can also, there's a special case of quantitative variables that's called continuous variables in a way, okay? So your quantitative variables here will be something like a metric math, okay? A metric English, semester test 1 mark, this marks, okay? So variables like the APS score, and the unique WST number are not really quantitative variables. Okay, so you would calculate the mean for, I mean, APS score can also in a way be considered a quantitative variable. Okay, but the unique WST number is definitely not a quantitative variable. Then you will calculate the mean or the average of all the other continuous variables. Okay. To do that, you will use the average function in Excel. Okay. So I'm just going to do for one variable and you do the rest. So it's equal to, and you say mean. Okay. You can create like a nice table like I did again. You have the variable, you enter all the continuous variables and then you say mean, and then you go along calculating the thing. Because with this, actually, there's also called dragging the formula in a way, so you don't have to retype it. But that's a story for another practical. So we click average. So why did I say mean? So that's the average function. It will give you the mean of the variable. Okay, we want to calculate the mean of math. Okay, and click enter. Okay, see, there's the mean. Okay, for math, you will do the same for the other variables. Okay, okay, let's go back to the instructions. So we've done that for the metric math, I think. Okay, you can do the rest. Okay, so what does Excel do with missing values? You can check that yourself, but when you check, you should be able to find out that Excel actually, when you calculate the means and the standard deviation of quantitative variables with missing values, it ignores the missing values. Okay, it's not always the case that you should exclude missing values from your calculations, but because that missing values occur for different reasons. Okay, you'll see that as you go along in your career. Okay, and you have optional questions there. You can calculate the pass rate. Remember, the pass at varsity is 50. You can calculate that, calculate the fraction of those given in that variable, and you can construct a frequency distribution for the exam entrance. And I would encourage you, if you have time, to do this week, because the next practical will have questions similar to this. Okay. And that's it from you. That's it from me today. Hope to see you in your practical sessions and enjoy the rest of the week. Thank you. Bye.